Of the week after a leaked Supreme Court draft showed the United States' highest court is on its way to overturning the decades-old case. Joining us now in studio is Dr. Rosemarie Allen, our racial equity expert. Good morning. So great to see you in person.
So nice to be here in the studio.
This is the first time in studio, right?
First time ever.
No more Zoom. We're so happy to have you in studio. So real quick, kind of just go back through the history of Roe v. Wade.
You know, on January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court banned Texas statute that disallowed abortions in Texas. That decision led to widespread legalized abortion. And what happened, it really was based on the 14th Amendment, the right to privacy clause. And the 14th Amendment said that a woman has a right to privacy in deciding if she wants to continue a pregnancy or abort, that it was her choice. And as a result of that, across the country, abortions became legal.
And this has been the way it is since then for 50 years. So then there are a number of concerns now. Should Roe v. Wade be overturned? What are some of the potential impacts of this decision?
Well, we have to look back at history again. Before Roe v. Wade, 3 years leading up to that decision, there were about 130,000 abortions, most of them illegal abortions. Now, before Roe v. Wade, there was an exception to an abortion. If you could pay a doctor to say that you couldn't handle a pregnancy mentally or physically, or it could cause harm, and if you had money, then you could pay for your abortion. But most of them were illegal. Most of them are what we call back alley abortions, and many of them were self-induced abortions, where women took poison, threw themselves down the stairs, used coat hangers to dislodge fetuses. So we saw a lot of death, and disproportionately African American women engaged in these illegal self-induced abortions, and it resulted in high deaths.
So talk a little bit more about that, because we've been looking at the specific impacts that are going to affect minority communities if this does in fact get overturned. Talk a little bit more about that.
And imagine that illegal abortions now are going to be very costly. And those of us who have been historically marginalized, historically disadvantaged, will not have the privilege of going to another state. We know that many states like California, Colorado, Connecticut, that they are creating safe havens, but how will historically disadvantaged people get there? Where will they stay when they go there? So this may result in more of those back alley illegal or self-induced abortions.
We've kind of talked about how Colorado is kind of like on its own island in terms of like being the safe haven, but all the states around it, I mean, people would have to travel for that.
And we have to remember how some of these laws are being crafted, that your regular everyday citizen is being encouraged to turn in women to report them if they're seeking or are suspected of having an abortion as well.
Obviously a huge conversation that we're going to be having for a while. Dr. Allen, thank you for coming in.
It's been a pleasure.
Wonderful to see you.
Good to see
you.
you
Look great.
too. Thank you.
Kind of a cool gray day yesterday.